A good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths. This is how the Bible speaks of the north of Israel. Here one can see the remnants of ancient aqueducts, close to the canals of a modern agriculture based on irrigation. The south of the country is hot and barren. In years of drought there is not even enough water for the few flocks that remain in the desert. How the beasts groan. The herds of cattle are perplexed because they have no pasture. The sheep crowd together in search of shelter from the blazing sun. The Bedu, veteran inhabitant of the desert, prays to the heavens as the drought decimates his flocks. He can migrate to the distant north, rich in a pasture land, or with fatalistic passivity, let the drought strike him. These green orchards, nestling between dry hills, are irrigated with water brought hundreds of miles from the north of the country. In some years, nomadic farmers till the soil in the hope of a meager crop, only to reap a harvest once in every 4. So this leaves many strips of ruined cultivation huddled between hills open to erosion and destruction. A land of contrasts. Contrasts between north and south, and in the south contrasts between fields irrigated with water from vast, costly projects and fields left to the mercy of the heavens and an unpredictable rain. To lessen the effects of these contrasts in rainfall, the government of Israel, assisted by the United Nations Development Programme and the Food and Agriculture Organization, began to erect storage dams as part of the Shikma watershed management project. The object of this international cooperation was to make better use of the small amount of water which nature does provide. Huge machines start constructing the dams in the heart of a region that suffers from frequent droughts and from heavy flooding during the few days when there is rain. The water trapped is thus used to reverse the destructive trend, from an ever-depleting land to one where vegetation holds soil in place, provides food for livestock, and builds up soil fertility. Work can begin only after a thorough study of the conditions. Though the mean annual rainfall of the Shikma region is 14 inches, the fluctuations range from 5 to 22. When rain falls in the desert, the less soil becomes crusted over and cannot absorb the water. Even a shower may be enough to cause runoff into streams that fill the large ravines and riverbeds. Water that once flowed uselessly into the sea now flows into the dam. A worker from the Shikma project checks the results of the flood. The 3 dams hold between 100,000 to 250,000 cubic meters. The equipment for pumping and irrigation is simple: light aluminium pipes and a tractor which operates a portable pump. Workers from the Shikma project inspect a crop in the fields irrigated with water from the dam. Samples of the crop are taken from marked areas and weighed. The dams may fill several times a year, depending on the rains, and the water is pumped out soon after and used as needed. I will make the wilderness a pool of water and the dry land springs of water. Water from the dam saves the crops from failure in drought years. 16,000 pounds yield per acre in irrigated fields as against nothing. A goodly land, a land of wheat and barley. The yield is weighed after harvesting with a combine. Trials show that each cubic meter of water increases the yield of grain by 2 to 3 pounds. This is Moshav Lachish in the heart of the Shikma region, one of 40 settlements in the area. In drought years, when the natural pasture is sparse, concentrated feed is brought from the village. The cows recognize the truck and the sound of its horn. Extensive areas in the Shikma watershed are fenced off in paddocks with fenced access paths leading to them. These allow the cattle to be moved from one paddock to another and enables grazing to be controlled. The fence is closed after the cattle have gone through. Back to nature. The cattle stay out on the range in the open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Enjoying the good natural life, they are less subject to disease. Moreover, production costs have been cut by a third. The windmill pumps water from a small well, and the cattle quench their thirst in the pasture. The natural meadows are their home, and they go into pens only for essential treatment. Spraying against ticks to avoid disease. The figures for the 5 years of the Shikma project tell their own story. An average weaned weight of 400 pounds. Sheep too are immunized against infectious diseases in the fold. The sheepfold is centrally located among the cultivated fields and pasture. The sheep go out to graze along the fenced paths. In drought years, when no grain yield can be expected, the sown fields provide sheep feed. In years of good rainfall, the sown fields are harvested by the combine, whilst the sheep live on the natural pastures. An effective combination of cultivated crops and pasture for increased profitability and reduced erosion. Thus flourishes new life in the desert, thanks to modern methods. A return to the lands of our ancestors with modern technology, bringing its advantages to all such regions suffering from contrasts of climate and shortage of water. There shall they lie in a good fold, and in a fat pasture shall they feed upon the mountains of Israel.